I mean, this has to be the most ambitious expansion a fan has ever made for a board game. Hi, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is an unboxing and rambling of the Crimson Scales, a fan-made expansion for Gloomhaven. And if you're looking at this thinking this doesn't look like a fan-made expansion, you're not wrong. This is a significant amount of weight, of heft, of goodness for Gloomhaven in a fan-made box, a fan-made expansion that we're going to unbox and talk about. Now, I normally warn you in these videos, no coffee by the way, it's Passover as I film this unboxing, which means my usual mugs and coffees and situation are not present. I still am having coffee, I'm not crazy, but not the typical coffee I have doing an unboxing video. But the Crimson Scales is a fan-made expansion for Gloomhaven that became its own giant little project over on Reddit, in which they took pre-orders and made this, and I don't want to officially say things that might be wrong, but I believe they have like unofficial sign-off from Isaac Childress, like unofficial meaning we're just not going to stop you, but we're also not going to officially sign off on it, I think. I could be wrong. But the Crimson Scales is a an unofficial fan-made expansion set in the Gloomhaven universe. That is basically what we have here. It's by BoardGame613. That is the username of the person who created this. This is insane. And before we go too much further into this, if you're wondering, well, I've never heard of this. Well, first of all, neither did I until I heard of it. That's the way most things work, by the way. You usually don't hear of them, then you hear of them, and then it's all good again. But if you're thinking, well, I never heard of this, how do I get my hands on this? Because, I mean, I don't know what I titled this video, but I probably titled it something along the lines of unboxing the next Gloomhaven expansion or something like that, that immediately caught your attention as a fan of Gloomhaven and having never heard of the next Gloomhaven expansion, and then you're trying to think through, this looks very cool, how do I get my hands on it? I'll have a link down below at some point, maybe not right away, maybe right away, we'll see, but I'll have some sort of link down below to the next iteration. They're doing another printing of this. This is so cool. I'm sorry. Give me a second here. I need to focus. They're doing another printing of the game of the expansion that you can go ahead and get your hands on it that way. They specifically did not run it on Kickstarter. They ran it through a bunch of pre-orders. There are a whole bunch of these coming. If you are one of the lucky people who actually do know about this game, which there are a decent amount of you, it's just there's a lot more who don't know about it. If you are one of the lucky people who did back this game, who did get this game, then if you're wondering why I have my copy before yours, this was air freighted to me a bit early, so your copy should be coming soon. It'll be on its way, and if you want to get your hands on this, you can either check out the secondhand market for when some of them somehow at some point in some way show up, although I don't know exactly how or why they will, or you can go ahead and check out the link down below to sign up for whatever newsletter or something in which they tell you the next batch of stuff you're going to get for this game. There's going to be more content here. I don't know if there's more content above this, but there's going to be another printing of Gloomhaven. If you're sitting there waiting for Frosthaven, or if you never backed Frosthaven, if you just want more Gloomhaven, there's an opportunity in front of you now. Welcome to the Crimson Scales. Stop. Read this first. Thank you for purchasing the Crimson Scales. In this game box, you will find many components you need to organize before you begin to play. This sheet will give you instructions on how to proceed with the unboxing of the game. It's important for you to follow step by step to properly get you organized before you start your adventure. I should probably read all this stuff, but I also probably won't because that would be very boring for this video, so I'll deal with the fallout and the consequences. If you like the... Oh, interesting. If you like to access the STL files to print 3D character miniatures yourself, so it seems it does not necessarily have miniatures. It seems. But there are options to go ahead and if you bought the separately designed add-on content package... Oh, miniatures. Miniatures are coming potentially separately. Yes, I actually do know about this. They are sending miniatures separately in some way, shape, or form, so there was the opportunity to get your hands on them, or you can print out the STL files for the miniatures. So we won't have miniatures here. We have new characters, we have new scenarios, we have a whole lot of more content for your Gloomhaven experience. We have our Punchboard full of very Gloomhaven-looking tokens, very Gloomhaven-adjacent stuff. The content does not feel cheap either, like this stuff over here. I don't know if you can see the thickness, but that's a normal Punchboard tile. No bendiness, like me pushing against it. I'm trying to bend it right now. Like, you could get a bend, but you have to apply actual pressure to get that. This is not some flimsy garbage token or whatever. This feels flimsy and garbage, but that's okay because I'm pretty sure I'm throwing that out. We have our tuck boxes, we have our inserts, we have our sticker sheets. We have tons and tons of stuff here. Give me a second. I'm going to have to go through some stuff. There might be spoilers, but that's okay, because before today, you didn't even know this existed. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. We have our Punchboard sheets, our conditions, our tokens, our various summons, maybe. They're resources. I don't know exactly what those are. We have some monsters over here, the Gnashing Drake. We have more tokens, more class tokens for the specific characters that will, I assume, go into their boxes in some way, shape, or form. That's probably what's on the sheet as far as the setup. So, for example, this over here, that box over here, is matching these tokens over here. So I'm assuming we're putting those in. I could be mistaken, but I thought Gloomhaven had 6 class tokens, and it looks like we have 7 of each one, so slight differences there. Not that it actually matters at all. We have a bunch more monsters over here. We have the Heraegus, we have the Ravenous Gariel, we have the boss monsters, more tokens. I mean, look at that. Is that... Whoa! 1 second. Okay, for context here, let's talk about my experience with Gloomhaven, because my experience with Gloomhaven is probably slightly relevant to what's going on here. I have played through the first, 2 or 3 scenarios of Gloomhaven a long time ago. I plan on diving into the rest of it at some point soon. I'm currently in the middle of my second is a loose term. Where'd this go? On the ground. I currently was playing through Jaws of the Lion, and then I restarted the campaign to go through it with a friend, which is where I am right now. We're currently going through the Jaws of the Lion, and we also have plans to go ahead and play Gloomhaven online, to play Steam version of Gloomhaven. I don't know if I'll ever play my physical version of Gloomhaven. I feel the same way about this, with the caveat that this doesn't have an online implementation, so this may be, I may go from Jaws of the Lion straight into this, or I may go from Jaws of the Lion to Steam Gloomhaven, then back to physical Gloomhaven in order to play this. I don't know my exact plans for this stuff. I just know that Gloomhaven is both a fantastic game, but also one that's hard to pull out on the table. The practical reality of it is that there's a lot of stuff to manage, and Jaws of the Lion makes it very accessible to the point that I like and appreciate what it's doing. This is so cool. This is so cool. I'm sorry, we're just going to go ahead and open some more packages here. But regular Gloomhaven has more stuff to manage, and I'd rather just play the online version than deal with all of the rest. This is an ambitious project. This expansion made a lot of money. It's a non-profit expansion, for context, by the way. It's the goal of the costs are to just fund the project and future whatever. The company that did this, by the way, is coming out with their own game as well. So if you're like, whatever craziness went into the person who decided this was a good idea to make this giant box into a game, whoever decided that person is also making another game. I believe it's called Rove. I don't know anything about it past the name yet. We have some more city encounter cards. We have some road encounter cards. These are all just, let's go ahead and read one of these, okay? If you know Gloomhaven, if you don't know Gloomhaven, these are basically cards you go through in between scenarios. You get a choice in them. The city has been strangely quiet lately. The usual bustle subdued, people rushing with their heads down, a certain pallor to everything you see. Things are especially dire as you move through the wards of Scales, where it feels like your every move is being watched. Nervous looks are plastered on the faces of the few shopping stalls you can see along the streets. As you ask around, it seems that a vermling group called themselves the Red Fang has been causing trouble on a nightly basis. That's about all folks are willing to speak of, clamming up when prompted for further information. Option A. See if you can find out more about the Red Fang in the stinking market. Gold talks. Option B. See if any visiting travelers or sailors at the old docks know what's going on. Well, I don't want to spend my money, and I imagine that the Red Fang down at the docks, I imagine they'd have a better idea, so you might want to skip ahead 25 seconds because I'm going to read the answer. Option B. A gaggle of Vermling's corsairs spit as they tell you of the Red Fang clan, a tribe of newly banded degenerate Vermling within the city using it as their personal hunting grounds. They strongly urge you to intervene. Unlock Insatiable. Ooh, fun. Otherwise, the men and women... Oh, we need a bunch of... That depends on who's in the game. It depends on who is in the game. I'm sorry about that. Otherwise, the men and women milling about the docks aren't very interested in chatting with you about a problem that they don't have to worry about themselves. No effect. So, these are some cards here. A whole bunch of more encounters for your Gloomhaven. We have these cards over here. That's interesting. What's up with these? Is this me not knowing? Because these don't follow the usual pattern of the cards. Interesting. They didn't print... Okay, so this is interesting, okay? They did not print the standard big box cards that you find in Gloomhaven. I'm assuming they didn't because I'm not seeing them here, and I am seeing these over here. These are slightly different. We have level 4, level 5, level 0, 1, the Terrascale Drake. So it has all the information you need, but it has so in a different format than you might be used to if you're utilizing the square cards. So that might be a potential thing to be mindful of. Not a deal breaker, but something to be mindful of before you jump into it, which means every card, because of the more limited information, every card has 2 cards to represent all the levels for the various enemies you're dealing with. But those are the enemies. Then we have some of your objectives over here, the private objectives you have, which, do I want to read one? No, these are not objectives. These are the end goals. That's what it was. Anyways, that's going to be that. That's deck 1, and we have so many decks of cards to go through here. Let's jump to a non-deck of cards situation before we go back to some decks of cards. We have our miniatures boxes in case you print the miniatures or you bought the miniatures separately. And in case you're interested, by the way, I do have the miniatures coming, and so what I will say is if you want to see those miniatures, at some point in the near future, I'll include those in one of my board game deluxeification videos. So generally, for context, I do once a month a video where I talk about upgrades, improvements, and all that for board games. I'll talk about the Gloomhaven Crimson Scales miniatures in one of those videos. So in case you want to see those, they'll show up. For right now, we have boxes and these miniature standees we have. We have our little party sheet board over here. I don't know if there's anything different about this. I could look into it a bit more. But yeah, that's going to be your party sheet tracker. Then we have the various boxes of all the content over here. Anything else worth noting? Let's open one of these boxes. So again, if you don't want to be spoiled by this, I am about to open one of these boxes and to go through some information about these stuff. We have our character standee for, oh my gosh, so cool, for the Hierophant. I'm probably saying that completely incorrectly, but this is a character standee for one of our characters. I will not be unlocking or opening all the boxes, primarily to preserve. Maybe I will at the end of this. You know what? Maybe. We'll see. Hold off. Anything I do with spoilers will have a tag in it, other than that road card. And, I mean, a Hierophant, I'll include spoilers. Prayers. The Hierophant spreads their faith around the battlefield by giving allies unique ability cards called Prayers, boosting their stamina and providing them with powerful tools to subdue your foes. Prayers, denoted by a P, are not part of your hand, but are stored in a separate supply, which many of your abilities interact with by giving prayer ability cards to your allies' current hand of cards. Whenever you give an ally a prayer ability card, you may choose to give any of the available prayer cards from your supply. Your allies may play prayer cards, doing card selection, and on their turn perform either the top, bottom, or basic actions of the prayer ability card. When a prayer is discarded for any reason, they are returned to the Hierophant supply, where they can be used again. Prayers cannot be lost to avoid suffering damage, unless stated otherwise. Now I want to find those prayer ability cards. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. The content here, I mean, they went all out. They have their little pack over here. They have the tokens. Let's find the Hierophant's tokens over here, because I'm assuming this is all part of the setup sheet that I just, decided to ignore. We have the Hierophant's tokens are this one down here, so let's go ahead and punch these out. We're going to get those. We're going to store that in the box. We have some spawn tokens. We have condition tokens. I can ignore all that. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump these tokens into the Hierophant's box. And we're going to put the standee back in the box. And then we're going to see if or when we can find the various cards. We have Halt. This is the back of the deck. In order to avoid potential spoilers, do not remove this card. These are ability cards of 3 classes. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead and ignore that. We have more road cards over here. There's going to be a whole bunch more road cards, it looks like. So, whole bunch. I mean, the amount of stuff here is just insane. Like, this entire box is all Gloomhaven content. For those people who are heavily into Gloomhaven, love playing it, and really want to continue to dive down to the sheer amount of stuff they have. I mean, look at this. More roads. Just tons of road abilities. We have a stack full of city ability cards over here. Just, tons of cities. We have some characters on the back, some water spirit cards. There's just an obscene amount of content for this game. Again, if you've fully gone through Gloomhaven, then you might be looking for more stuff. If you haven't gone through Gloomhaven, then you may not need more stuff. I simultaneously don't need this yet, while being incredibly impressed with just how much they did here. Wow. Okay, let's go ahead and put this behind there. Let's somewhat try to organize this. And then let's put you guys behind you, because we had some monsters over here. So again, semi-organizing what was showed up over here. What do we have over here? We have another stop deck. Halt. The following classes of this deck are ability cards of 2 characters. Halt. Nope, I don't want that one. I'm going to be going through just the Hierophant right now. I can't go through everything, but I will go through... Where's the Hierophant? Are they in here? Here it is. Okay, great. Again, we're going to go through the character cards of the Hierophant, or at least the starting ones, and we'll see how this goes, because, again, I want to see the prayer cards. I don't know about you. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't even know. I didn't read the full sheet. I probably should have read the full sheet as far as how I should dive into this, which characters are going to be unlocked through story, which characters are going to be unlocked as you go. I haven't even looked at the scenario books. I totally forgot with them. I've been so distracted by all this fun stuff over here. Okay, let's go ahead and find the various character cards for the Hierophant. The Hierophant's going to be down here at the bottom, it looks like. Here we go. Okay, we have a card here, which I will not look at. Oh my gosh, there's like URLs and things to unlock. There's like little... I don't want to show it to you, I'm not sure. Okay, so we have our level 1 cards. We'll look at the level 1 cards of the Hierophant. We will not look at the rest, but we will try to find the prayers of the Hierophant, because here we go. Here are the prayers at the end. So we have prayers, and we have the end card, which is just a halt card. Let's go ahead and take a look. Faith Calling. Shield 1, affect all allies within range 2. If you affect one ally with this action, give the ally one prayer ability card. Interesting. So you're giving shield to all allies within range 2, and if you affect an ally, then you give one prayer card to an ally, and a prayer card, for instance, could be Ordination. At the start of your next 2 turns, you may perform move 2. If this card is discarded for any reason, return it to the Hierophant supply. This is so cool. You're giving your allies cards they can use. Penitence. Oh my gosh, I want to see what Penitence is. The next 2 times you draw a negative attack modifier card, treat it as a 0 instead. These are just like little buffs that go on. Prayers are just these little chock full of buffs. Lamentation. On any source of damage, you may lose this card and suffer no damage instead. Gloomhaven's a very cool game. Just for context, I don't play it enough. That's a me problem. Gloomhaven is an incredible experience. I should be playing Gloomhaven more. This makes me sad. Everything I'm seeing here makes me sad. The amount of characters here, the amount of content for this game, the amount of ways to build out and develop your characters. I will never be able to experience everything currently in this box in front of me. I will try. At some point, in some way, I will go through some of the stuff, but I will never be able to experience it all. And that already makes me very sad. Harsh Rebuke. Attack 3, range 2. If this attack kills an enemy, give one ally within range 2 one prayer ability card. Move 3, move 1, shield, too much text to read. Each enemy that causes an ally to suffer 3 or more damage from an attack this round suffers 2 damage after the attack. Okay, retaliate 1, affect all allies. This is just more Gloomhaven stuff. Or probably called the Crimson Scales, probably not called Gloomhaven for copyright reasons. There's a lot of fun stuff going on here. I am very, very, very compelled by seeing more about this game here. I need to go ahead and put these back into the 1 cards. I need to cover it up with the halt again, put the prayers back. This is but one of several is the wrong term. How many boxes do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, it looks like 14 characters. There are 14 characters here. 14 new characters for your Gloomhaven experience. Dozens of new road cards. We haven't even gotten to the scenarios because you, like me, might be sitting here thinking, I almost forgot the Hierophant card, you might be sitting here thinking, well, that's great, but I don't want to replay the same scenario content. Well, that's good because they have you covered for that. They've given you more scenario content so you can go ahead and dive into it through these books, which I'll get to in a second. This is incredibly cool. This sticker sheet is a little bent, but that's fine. Are these removable stickers? It says enhancement stickers. It does not say they're removable, but that is a side point. This is incredibly cool. Probably should have put the Hierophant cards in here while I was going. I'm going to organize this separately off camera. The content here is absolutely insane. I'm just very impressed. We have their cards over here. These are the cards of all the modifier decks and whatnot. I assume for the various characters we have them over here. Yep. You see class 1, class 2, class 3. So these are going to be the following cards, the class attack modifiers. In order to avoid potential spoilers, do not reveal the card until you've unlocked a relevant class. I don't know how you unlock this stuff. Let's see anything else here. These are probably all attack modifiers. Oh, probably items. It's probably items as well. We probably have items too. So we have the attack modifiers. Do we have items? Let's go through this. Go through this. No. Modifiers, modifiers, modifiers. We have items. I found the items. Okay. So let's go ahead and stack these out back. And let's take all these out because we have some items. So we have enemy decks as well, by the way, which you'd expect. We have our Water Spirit attack deck over here. We have some more enemy decks over here. The Harrowing Aegis. I don't know how you pronounce that word. Is it Aegis or Aegis? We have some item cards starting in this deck, but this one looks like it's a mix based on looking at the edges here. It looks like it's a mix of a few card types, so I'm not going to open that right now. But I will go ahead and open some of these. So, potential minor spoilers here. Let's go ahead and read through. You know what? Maybe we'll just read the cover card of each of these. We have the Orb of Confusion. During your attack ability, you may place one character token on this card to add Muddle to one attack. When there are 3 tokens on this card, it is consumed. Interesting. During your attack ability, you may place one character token on this card to add Muddle. So it's effectively 3 Muddles that you can utilize once you place it. For 15 money, it's not bad. It's not bad. It can be very situationally beneficial when you're attacking the right enemy. We have Lucky Horseshoe. When you're damaged by an attack targeting you, suffer half rounded down the damage instead. Okay. It's not bad. But again, it has to be utilized at the right time. We have the Battering Ram. Doing your melee attack ability, add muddle and push 2 to all your attacks. Okay. Yeah, again, these are more equipment stuff. And it's interesting, because equipment is actually my favorite part of Gloomhaven. I like Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven's a solid game. The problem with the equipment, I find, is the equipment is so one use for the most part. A lot of the best stuff are one use, which is, I mean, that's what you do to maintain balance. But it does take away some of the fun elements from the game, because you're like, oh, yay, it's all one use stuff, you know? I want to actually use the things. I took out my Human Hierophant card pack over here. This should go back in. This is his specific deck over here. His specific perks on the option over here. They have some cool cards here. They have some cool cards. Okay, I'm not going into all the character cards. This is not about going into all the character cards. There's too much stuff to do that. This is about showing you the incredibly impressive fan-made project for Gloomhaven that is absolutely mind-boggling. Like, it's insane. It's whatever. It's ridiculous. So, let's go through some of these packs over here. Let's put this off to the side. We also have some bags over here, as well as the handy-dandy guide of how to unbox and how to deal with this that I have not gotten into. We also have a mess behind me on the floor that I'll have to get to shortly enough. And now what do we have over here? We have Crimson Scales, the rulebook, and scenario guide. Rulebook? Why do I need a rulebook? What do I need a rulebook for? Oh, it's using the tiles from Gloomhaven. You see, okay, so you're going to need Gloomhaven for this, which is unfortunate. I mean, I still have Gloomhaven, to be clear, but I kind of would want... I'm so used to Jaws of the Lion and how accessible that is that it's unfortunate. Okay, introduction. Yet again, you find yourselves in a tavern, but this time in part of town most sane folks wouldn't dream of entering. You do not frequent this area regularly, but truth be told, business has been slow, and this inn is even cheaper and down market than your normal haunts. Despite being in this part of town, your reputation has clearly gone before you. It doesn't take long before a particularly shady-looking character sidles up to you. His hood half obscures a dirty, scarred face. His grubby cloak seems to be heavily stained with dry blood, and he twitches lightly as he starts to speak. "I hear you guys are open to adventure," he mutters furtively in a strange, high voice. You shrug noncommittally, unsure where this is going. "I can make you rich and grant great influence if you acquire a small trinket on my behalf." Still dubious, you merely raise an eyebrow. But that, it seems, is enough. You see, I didn't get the how he talks until after my first sentence. "Very good. Go to the shore of the Dark Lake, near the Watcher Mountains. There are rumors of some strange creatures there which may lead you to what you are looking for. If you are successful, I will make the necessary introduction." Simultaneously intrigued and confused, you can't help but ask more questions. What is it we're actually looking for? And what do we do when we've got it? The hooded stranger half smiles. "You don't need to know what it is. You'll either find it, or you won't. Look for me here if you are successful." With that, the cloaked figure turns on his heel and sweeps out the bar. You look at each other and shrug. You had no plans tomorrow anyway. I always have plans tomorrow, by the way. This would not be a good life for me. Welcome to the Crimson Scales. This book contains the rules and scenarios needed to play the expansion. The first few pages will walk you through what's new and updated from Gloomhaven, after which you'll be ready to select your starting mercenary group to embark on your new adventure. Now go ahead and read through the next pages to see what features you can expect to encounter in the campaign. So, we have Chill, Infect, Regenerate, Ward. We have new elements over here. We have new area effects. We have conditional area effects. We have new attack modifier cards. This is not just, we have dotted lines. Abilities introduced in Forgotten Circles, separated individual abilities with an action or ability card. Okay, that's from Forgotten Circles. They are adding stuff here. This is not purely wow. It's not purely just more content. This is more rules. Not necessarily in a bad way. It depends on how much this goes. This does look like it's mostly the scenario guide. We have the scenario breakdown, how that works. So they're really, again, everything you're seeing here, this is all fan-made. This is all insane. They've gone through the work of blurring that out so you don't get a spoiler. We have the scenario flow chart. That's useful. Did Gloomhaven have that? I don't remember if Gloomhaven had that. We have 66 scenarios over here. 66 more scenarios. If you've gone through Gloomhaven, if you've gone through Jaws of the Lion, if you've gone through Forgotten Circles, and if you're looking for more content, this game gives you more content. This is probably spoilerific at this point. I will not heavily... Let's focus on the first one. Let's focus on the first one. That first scenario. I'll make sure to switch to the front camera before I go into there. The Dark Lake. Do I want to flip the page? Nope, I'm not going to flip the page. This is very cool. This is very, very, very cool. What do we have over here? So, we have this, which is going to be more... Oh, these are scenario conclusions, all those aspects, those touch upon parts, okay? And then we have this over here. Okay. And in a second, I will go ahead and... What do we have? We have read this first. What is this? Read this first. Thank you for purchasing the Crimson Scale Characters add-on pack. Ooh, this is all the characters. Okay. Beetle, Tools, Bloody Claw. These classes have been built to fit seamlessly into any new or ongoing rules and scenario book. Is this more scenarios? What is happening here? How much stuff do they have? How much content? Dear Lord. Okay. This is just... there's way too much stuff here. There's just an unnecessary amount of things. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, but I'm going to actually flip through a few things when we're done. So I'm going to wrap this up for those who don't want to see any more spoilers, and then maybe I'll open a few more packs and go through a few more characters, not all of them, as well as flipping through this thing. This, once again, is Gloomhaven, the Crimson... I can't say Gloomhaven. I mean, I can say whatever I want. I'm sure they can't say Gloomhaven. This is a fan-made expansion for Gloomhaven, otherwise known as the Crimson Scales. This introduces, I don't know exactly what's add-on versus not over here, but this introduces a whole bunch of new characters. What was it, 14 new characters I said? That might be with the add-on pack though, so I don't know. But 14 new characters. There was an option in some way to get miniatures. There's also STL files to get miniatures, so you can get your hand on those there, so you can have your standard standees for the enemies, as well as miniatures for the characters. I'm assuming that when Isaac Childress comes out with his Gloomhaven miniatures pack, I'm assuming we will not see miniatures for the monsters from Crimson Scales, but I'm assuming we will see STL files that you can build your own monsters from Crimson Scales. I don't know if those exist yet or not. I just assume, given the completeness of this, that someone, whether the creator himself or someone else, will make that. If you've never heard of this, that makes sense. I never did either. Fan-made expansions are fascinating. The amount of fan-made content there is in board games out there, there's a lot. But to a certain extent, you have to be heavily involved in that board game to often know about that stuff. You have to really care about that board game, and then suddenly you're in a forum post and someone talks about it, and you go to a page, and there's a Reddit page, and there's a sign-up sheet, and there's like a whole bunch of money you have to pay, and you're not even sure if it's a real thing, so maybe you don't right now. It's a real thing. In front of me is the result and the consequences of this real, not-for-profit, fan-made expansion, the amount of love and care and energy that went into something that is not for profit. This is not meant to make money. This is a product of love. It costs you money because it costs money to make. And there will be another printing of this. I'll link to that information down below. And with that, I'm going to say, hi, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. This is absolutely insane. I'm incredibly impressed. I assume you are as well, because, I mean, it'd be hard not to be. Until next time, have a good one. And now spoilers, in case you stuck around. So, spoilers. I'm going to flip through this. I'm going to flip through this the way that it would not bother me. But again, you could just not look. I'm just going to slowly flip through some of these things. Everything here now is spoilers. I tagged the little YouTube bar thingamajiggy chapter as spoilers. These are the various scenarios you'll have using standard Gloomhaven tiles, it looks like. So you will need your Gloomhaven set. I really need to take a look at my Gloomhaven set and figure out how I'm going to deal with all this, because I need a better insert system than what I currently have. There's so much stuff in a way that's incredibly impressive. Gloomhaven in general is incredibly impressive. This is just insane, the degree to which more content has been added. Okay, when door 1 is opened, go to 32A. 32A is going to be a side book. I don't actually know how this navigates at all. Keep in mind, I haven't played Gloomhaven in a very long time. It's been like 3 years. I played Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion a whole lot. When doors open, 32A. 32A can't be over here, is it? That's 32. I don't know how it actually moves out from one book to the next. It must be in this side book. It must be in this, right? This is where it has to be. Nope, nope, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's in this side book. Here we go. And then door 1 opens 32A. Okay, I got it. So, then we go ahead and do that. When door 2 is open, 32B. So those are the various augment thingies that are coming out. So you basically go look here, you do that, you read the book, you put the relevant books over there, and you have to make various decisions around that. And there's monsters, and characters, and items, and unlocks, and missions, and objectives, and all those fun things. Let's go ahead and open a few more character packs. This is very impressive. So, a few more packs. Nothing crazy, because I don't want to read everything, because that would take too much time. But I do want to see a bit more about the various... Even just the Hierophant. I mean, the idea of those packs, the idea of prayers, just seems so cool to me. So let's take a look at what we have here. I'm probably spoiling stuff, but again, I tagged it, so it's on you now. We have the Bombard. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look at this. That's insane. The Bombard has a unique action type called Projectile, which marks a hex within the specified range of the ability with a character token. If a projectile lists multiple targets, mark 1 hex for each target. At the start of your next turn, perform the ability listed for the projectile, targeting the marked hexes. So you're kind of like mortaring, you're like hitting a specific spot. If no enemy occupies the marked hex at the start of your turn, the ability has no effect. The character token is removed in both cases. After performing the projectile ability, remove the card from your activator and play your selected cards for the turn. Example A, enemy moves onto the marked hex and occupies that hex next turn, attack is performed. Enemy moves onto hex inside there, but does not occupy the marked hex. This is very interesting. So you have all these cards. Now I want to go see their cards, though. A Quattro Bombard. I mean, the idea of playing this class, the idea of navigating that aspect of how to deal with planning around where the enemy is, going towards the end of one phase, the start of another, or in trying to ensure that you have other characters helping you push and pull and prod people into the targeted zone. This one has a screwdriver and a wrench. So, I'm curious what this one does. The Artificer. That's fairly boring by all the standards. Scrap. The Artificer will accumulate. Let's go ahead and show you it. 1 second. Here we go. The Artificer will accumulate and spend scrap based on the abilities performed. Scrap is tracked by placing scrap tokens on this map. On this mat, the Artificer starts each scenario with 0 scrap, and up to a maximum of 5 scrap can be carried at once. These scrap tokens can then be used in a variety of ways denoted with, well, the token on the Artificer's ability cards. Time tracks. Some of the Artificer abilities have time tracks, which are temporary persistent bonuses associated with the symbol over there. Time tracks automatically advance one space at the end of the character's or their summon's turn. Value of X, certain abilities have X. I'd have to see more. I mean, the core concept of having a scrap resource is fine. This one does not impress me as much as the other two. Keep in mind, when I say impress, I don't mean from a stance of it's not good. I just mean the other two make me immediately want to play the characters. The Artificer is like, I have to see the rest of the cards. We have the Luminary. I mean, look at this. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they use the same artist as Gloomhaven for this stuff. Glow. The Luminary has a unique persistent bonuses called Glow, which you can trigger during your turn by consuming elements to perform powerful area of effect abilities. Anytime during your turn, if able, you may consume any specified elements of a Glow ability to perform all abilities in the highlighted part of the action, targeting all enemies or allies in the depicted red hexes. Okay. Again, I'm not 100% confident how it plays out. Additionally, you have abilities which allow you to add effects or provide bonuses whenever you perform a Glow ability. These abilities specifically only apply to when you consume an element and perform any part of the highlighted abilities of the Glow action, unless stated otherwise. They have abilities where you scuttle by performing a move into any depicted black hexes of an area. The movement may enter as many hexes as granted by the abilities, but you must end the movement in a depicted black hex. That's intriguing. So they have a scuttle ability, a movement, where you have to end in a specified zone, but you can go anywhere along the way until then. I'm intrigued to how that plays out, but the concept is intriguing. It gives you the option for a lot of movement and the consequences of that, while still restricting how you do things. That's a very intriguing concept. The Myrafoot. Okay, and this is the last one we're going to do. I don't want this video to go on forever, and I'm spoiling enough for you. It's your fault. You continued going. The Myrafoot has many abilities that can inflict upgraded conditions, which are conditions with an enhanced effect denoted by a numerical value following the condition symbol. For example, Poison 3. When you inflict a figure with Poison 3 or Wound X, they are considered poisoned or wounded. Each attack targeting a figure with Poison X adds X plus X attack instead of plus 1 attack, and a figure with Wound X suffers X damage instead of 1 at the start of its turn. So they're upgraded condition modifiers. Intriguing. A figure cannot have multiple instances of a condition with different numerical values. It only keeps the condition with the higher value. Regardless of the value of the condition, it is always considered as a single condition and cannot stack. So it's kind of like a stack, but not a stack at the same time. Interesting. Overlay tiles placement. Many of your abilities allow you to create difficult terrain in hexes with no overlay tiles. A hex with difficult terrain, hazard terrain, obstacles, and traps is considered as containing overlay tiles. You may also place difficult terrain in occupied hexes as long as they contain no overlay tiles. I like the idea, the intriguing abilities of unlocking more powerful conditions. That's interesting, but again, I have to see more. Okay, this is Gloomhaven Crimson Scales. I'm going to go ahead and put this back now. I will go through the setup and tear down and packaging this all later. I don't know when I'm going to play this for context. I may, for the sake of funsies, I may try to do a playthrough of the first scenario or two of Gloomhaven Crimson Scales. I may try to do a film playthrough of it. I make no guarantees, I make no promises, but I do want an excuse to dive into it, and there's not going to be a ton of content on this game compared to other, Gloomhaven content out there. And so I may make the time to figure out what to do and to go through this and pick a character and dive into it. No guarantees, but I kind of wouldn't mind having the excuse. Okay, we're going to call it a day now. I'm gonna wrap this up for the second time. Thanks so much for being here. This is incredibly impressive. I'm very intrigued. And I said this already, but to those who stuck around, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. There'll be links down below. And as always, have a good one.